Okay, so it seems like ShyLily's been facing quite a bit of backlash over online recently through her new debut, or her new model debut, sorry. And yeah, it's pretty ridiculous because obviously, she's been very excited to announce this. And well, she finally did her stream the other day and even actually reached 1 million subscribers over on YouTube, which was pretty insane on her debut, which obviously she was very happy about. And it's great to see that obviously she's doing great and things are going great. Now, obviously, yeah, this was her new model. It looks really, really nice. Again, it's not too different to any like the other designs she's had. I mean, she's had many different kind of styles and models, but I think this is more of just an updated and better kind of rigged model, which honestly I think looks really, really great. I mean, we have a full sheet here, which essentially shows off the different kind of expressions and stuff. I mean, they're literally using the same expression for everyone here, and then they show off the other ones here. But again, it's very detailed, very nice, and I think honestly it's a good model. But obviously, where does this controversy come into? Well, the model artist actually for this was nanoless. Now, if you guys remember with the whole Cinder drama, nanoless was the one that made the whole doc, kind of talking about Cinder. And obviously, that's what kind of kickstarted the whole Cinder drama that happened. Now, obviously, it was great that they came out with their own kind of thoughts and feelings on it, and that they had, obviously talked to their audience about this. And honestly, I think they should be getting more jobs. And I think the best thing that came out of the whole situation was the fact that nanoless has been more known now, and people have been commissioning them to make more models. But it seems like some people aren't too happy that ShyLily has kind of commissioned nanoless to make this, due to the fact of the affiliation with Cinder and how kind of anti-Cinder ShyLily has been, which I think is kind of understandable. Now, obviously, I think it's pretty ridiculous to be getting mad at the fact that nanoless made a model for ShyLily, but I don't think it's, completely out there to assume that, the talks with nanoless to make this model could have taken place around the same time as the whole Cinder stuff. But I think also at the same time, I think that's totally fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because obviously, she just lost out on a big client being Cinder. And, ShyLily obviously went, hey, do you want to make a model for me? And, some people are taking that as like some kind of like malicious thing and like trying to do like a whole screw you to Cinder, but I honestly don't think it's that way. I honestly think it's a VTuber trying to help out a VTuber artist who was obviously struggling and gave her a pretty big commission, because I'm going to be real, this model probably cost her quite a bit, and nanoless probably made quite a bit of money from this model. And I think, I think it's pretty crazy to assume that, nanoless can't just take jobs after this. She's allowed to take jobs. I feel like a lot of people are blowing it way out of proportion. And obviously, there was this one tweet that I saw from Comrade Dell. Now, they've had some pretty good takes, I'm pretty sure, last time I looked at them. I mean, I don't really look at their page, so I'm not really sure what they're all about. But obviously, they say, so ShyLily murders Cinder, which is, again, a little bit too far. I don't think she murdered her. She obviously exposed a lot of things about her, and obviously talked about her quite a bit, and like in a negative kind of fashion. Sure, you can say that she went after Cinder, but I think murder's a bit of an overstatement. I'm going to be honest. They said destroys her reputation, and then basically gets a new nanoless model, with which she then throws shade at Cinder at her own new model debut. Again, I haven't seen the clips for this. Again, it'd be nice if they did provide the clip, because I haven't seen anybody showing me the clips for that. I didn't watch the whole of the ShyLily kind of debut, so it would be nice if Comrade Dell could have provided that clip so that we know obviously where she is talking about it. But they say this level of high school mean girl pettiness is honestly quite legendary. I'm honestly impressed, and obviously being a mean girl brat is going to be praised in this scenario because the seal clapping training is paying off, which I just think that's a very interesting comment to make about this. Again, I haven't seen any kind of evidence of her throwing shade at Cinder. I would, again, really like to see the evidence behind that one. But even at the same time, I don't think it's that, that's the intended purpose. And obviously this person here saying, I don't think that's the intended purpose of the debut. I mean, it's only a coincidence. Lily is, after all, water, and fire is the opposite in our thinking. Did someone ask her at least? I don't feel good throwing this around without actually knowing. Plus, isn't it like a Pokemon? I said, but it's still a bit on the nose considering what happened. She did ruin a certain fire type while being a water type. So it's not like she's going to confirm that the fire type in her head is rent free. I'm pretty sure what they're referring to here was the fact that ShyLily actually made a kind of lore video as well, or she didn't make it, but she commissioned it. She had a lore video where she fought this big like fiery dragon thing, which obviously I think a lot of people are also kind of what you call it, like I mean, kind of like associating it with Cinder, because obviously fire and water, which I think is a little bit of a stretch. It's a little bit of an outreach. Obviously, people saying Cinder destroyed her own reputation. I get that people miss her persona, but that's gone now and it's not coming back. If a community can't handle that and want to bury their heads in the sand and pretend that all that happened, things aren't true, they need a reality check. They said, I think you missed a part where Lily basically orchestrated and coordinated with a large group of VTubers for a week before the drama happened to drop the docs, which honestly, I don't think it's bad to coordinate it if Cinder actually did something wrong. I mean, let's be real, I think like if she actually did something wrong and there was something behind that, I think it's fine to coordinate, people releasing Google Docs about her, because, obviously they're going to release it anyways. They're just trying to reduce, I guess, the amount of, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't think it's at the end of the world. I think it's just one of those things that happens, If people find out that things have happened behind the scenes, it could literally happen with any of your friends in real life. You hear something about someone and then you're like, oh, damn, we really need to talk to him about this. We need to tell someone about this. And then you all go and do it together. I don't see any problem with that. So again, I don't know why people were mad at that too. I was saying, wait, Nano did Lily's 3.0 model. Said, sure, she did. She sure did. I said, wait, what? Didn't she close commissions, or is she an exclusive artist now? Said she made ShyLily's new model. Would be hilariously ironic if she's now an exclusive artist. Again, that's complete, hearsay. Like that, that's not confirmed. I mean, I don't really know where that's come from at all. Obviously, as well, they're saying, so I apparently need to state the obvious again, because clearly that single communal brain cell is obviously not enough for all those idiots in the fandom. I'm not a Cinder fan, which again, I didn't really get that impression in the first place. I mean, it just seems like someone that is quite mad about this. They say, seen her since her early days, and very early on, figured out that it wasn't for me. In fact, I honestly dislike her. In this situation, she also is absolutely not innocent. She herself admitted to some of her crimes and faults, which, yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. They said, but what I dislike it more is someone destroys someone's livelihood over inconveniences and petty jealousy, and walks away not only scot-free, but actively praise and basking in adoration. Not only that, but said person continues throwing shade long after basically winning the battle. You know what that is? Bullying. You're all worshipping a juvenile high school bully, albeit with connections and power within the scene. Again, I mean, I don't really watch too many ShyLily streams. I see her mentioning it sometimes, but again, it was a pretty big situation for her. It was a pretty big situation for Cinder and a lot of the people involved. I don't really blame her for making jokes about it. She's trying to make light of the situation, and obviously it had such a big impact on, her career as well. Not, negatively or anything. In fact, it was actually probably quite positive, but it had such a big impact on all of them. I think, obviously it does, get mentioned sometimes because it's just a thing that's happened in her kind of career. They say, and the fact that so many ShyLily fans are going around essentially bullying and harassing anyone who dares ask questions or disagree with their vaunted queen's holy words without anyone calling them out, though it's accepted and normal, just the cherry on top. Considering that Lily has said nothing whatsoever about it and instead just kept lambasting and blaming everything on the vague Cinder fans, I can only assume that she approves. I wonder what it says about the streamer when this is how their community behaves. Now, obviously, whenever they go into like the whole vague Cinder fans thing, there's a lot of clips out there of ShyLily talking about Cinder fans and, some of the things that they've done towards her. But the thing is, that is also backed up by evidence. You can look at my kind of videos that I've made on Cinder fans in the past, and you can see, exactly, the evidence behind it. She's not just saying it because she wants to provoke it. This is literal Cinder fans going after her. She talks about it, and then people get mad that she talks about people that are talking about her. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, It doesn't make sense in my head that people are mad that she is now calling out people that are coming after her, It's kind of ridiculous to assume that she should just stay quiet on that. They say one person had a goddamn meltdown over a charity donation, one that wasn't even exactly confirmed to be Cinder, and even that was used an opportunity to throw shade at the already cancelled girl. Yeah, but that's literally because all of these, well, not all of this, some, obviously pretty extreme Cinder fans were trying to, blame ShyLily, were trying to kind of, say that she was trying to one-up her and creating all these ridiculous theories. They were the ones that instigated that. ShyLily wasn't the one that came up with that out of the blue. It was the Cinder fans, or some Cinder fans, obviously, a lot of the Cinder fans are great, by the way. It's just like a small group of people who obviously want to cause a lot of drama in the space. They did that first, provoked her, and then she talked about it. You can't just go, oh, well, why is she talking about it? It's because you provoked her. Like, not saying Comrade Dell did, but obviously the people that were, going ahead and saying that she was trying to one-up Cinder and stuff, that's why she talked about it, because other people were calling her out on places like Twitter. She's allowed to talk about it. It's YouTube, it's Twitter. Like, she's allowed to do whatever she wants. But obviously, yeah, I think it is pretty ridiculous. Obviously, they say, most of you don't even know what you unleashed, and I genuinely don't think you had the capacity to understand or even care. This type of behavior is now approved. This is the way to do things. Cinder isn't going to be the last one, and I'm sure you'll justify anyone else getting the same treatment too. Until it's someone you personally like, of course. I'm sure you'll think differently then. It's only a question of time now until it happens. All it'll take is just one more bruised ego, because you don't need solid proof anymore. You just need enough angry simps who will ignore everything and just brainlessly believe what you tell them, and a bit of coordination with other VTubers who have the same obedient masses. After that, just let them loose to bully and harass anyone who disagrees. Which, again, I think there's a lot of people who were very receptive to things about Cinder. If you guys look, for example, at my video recently, talking about the artist that cleared up some stuff to do with Cinder, it has a pretty good like ratio. I mean, it was like above 90, So, again, if that is, ShyLily fans and people like that, kind of, attacking and harassing other people for even questioning some stuff to do with the whole Cinder stuff, I don't know what to tell you, because again, 90%, obviously, yes, there are some out there. It's the same with either side. There's a lot of, ShyLily fans who are very diehard and obviously, are very, I guess, extreme in, the harassment and bullying and stuff like that, which 100% is true, but it's not all of them. And that's the same with the Cinder fans too. There's a group of them as well who obviously, are quite extreme and obviously, bully and harass other people on the other side. And it's just both sides. It's just one of these things where both sides have this. And, obviously it is very obvious that, that both sides have one. But again, I just don't, it's just so confusing to me that, some people just don't really see that, and that some people just kind of try to blame the entire community and say that it's the entirety of ShyLily's community, because that's what I've tried to do, over the past kind of, couple months or so, was to kind of, tell you guys that it is just a small group of these people. It's not just every single Cinder fan. It's, particular people. And obviously a lot of people, even in the comments and stuff, are saying they're not a true Cinder fan and stuff like that, which honestly I think is fine. If you want to, shun them from the community or whatever because you don't like what they've done, I think that's actually a really positive thing. But again, obviously some people take it too far, especially whenever it comes to, even other VTubers as well. They say you probably think it's stupid and dumb. I'm sure you'll change your tune when it's your Oshi on the chopping block, and sooner or later it will happen to one of you. So you call me a stam, simp, or whatever, I don't care. Just know that when your Oshi gets the Cinder treatment or gets the Lily maneuver, that you'll be doing mental gymnastics or burning merch like a dumbass. I'll be here sitting my ass off laughing. Which again, I think that's such a, you sound like an anime villain there. I mean, it's kind of, it's kind of funny, but again, I don't know. People said, hey, I think you have a very valid point. This feels like how many branches of entertainment industry quite simply with a smile. It'd be smart to be wary and not fully trust every smiling face. This applies here as much as online as in the real world. They'd stop having doubts of popular, totally one-sided narratives. So obviously, yeah, a lot of people as well saying the whole story has two sides, has died, and it's become the case of the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Again, I think a lot of people do have a kind of skewed opinion on, how receptive people are to, people being open to looking at some other kind of like rebuttals and things in the Cinder case. As I said, I've covered things before to do with rebuttals, including Powder's document, which obviously was very insightful. I looked into, how some things could have been misconstrued by nanoless. And also we've looked at, as I said, the artist who cleared up things as well in regards to how Cinder designed a model to do with spite. And again, obviously, I think those are two things which were actually pretty well received, at least on my end, in terms of like ratio. You know, I usually go off like ratio, depending on, you know, how much people, you know, enjoy the video, or how much they kind of agree, or how much they kind of, you know, are taking into account a lot of this information. And obviously, you know, the like ratios were still pretty high. And as I said, there's still a small, you know, little negative in there, because obviously there is a lot of extreme groups that don't like that information coming out. But again, for the majority, it shows me that the majority are open to looking at this kind of stuff. So I think it is just one of those things where if you put out that information and, you know, there's people that are, you know, talking about it, I think, you know, people can be open to it. But also at the same time, it's got to be rooted in reality, and not just some random guy going, oh, well, I think Cinder's actually innocent here because I just think so. Yeah, I think so. So you should believe me because I'm on Reddit, and yeah, I'm right. Which I think, you know, obviously is something completely different as well. And the same goes for like ShyLily's community, or literally anybody else, not just Cinder. I mean, you know, again, you just got to be a little bit more open with it. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think it is a very stupid, pointless drama. I think that people getting upset over this kind of stuff, you know, are very stupid. I think nanoless, obviously, she needs more work. She needs more, you know, people coming over. And I'm sure she's gotten a lot of work from people coming over, from all the Cinder stuff. So again, I don't think it's necessarily a crime or like a big problem that, you know, ShyLily had, you know, commissioned her. It's an artist at the end of the day who actually cares. And yeah, I mean, I'd just say, let's just move on. And obviously, you know, a lot of people spout the fact that they want to move on from this Cinder stuff, but every single time it keeps coming back up. And this is what I say, every single time it is someone that brings it up first, not ShyLily, not Cinder, not anybody. You know, it's always someone else, and that's when they talk about it, which I think is something that a lot of people can't really understand as well. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also go to GameSubs, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. I definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.